Hey guys, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. If you are new, please consider sticking around and subscribing to my channel. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now for this first DIY, I am sharing a very cute sign made out of this heart, sort of a palette wood looking design. And here I'm sharing the different types of green colors that I decided to use for this first DIY. These are the colors by DIY Paint, and I thought that all of these colors would be nice in this project, as they are all in the green family, obviously, and they would just make a nice neutral piece. Perfect for just keeping around throughout the year if you're into decorating with hearts. This doesn't just have to be for Valentine's, so I thought that the green tones would be perfect for this DIY. So this first color I'm using is called Gypsy Green, and this is a clay-based paint. As you can see, once I dried it, it dried lighter. When it's wet, it is darker, but once you dry it, it does lighten up a bit. And you'll also notice, if you've never worked with clay-based paint, that once you do a top coat, it sort of darkens up the color just a bit. Now this minty color is called Mint Julep, and this is by Dixie Belle. I believe this is a chalk paint, if I'm not mistaken. That bottom color is called Monet's Garden, also by DIY. It looks very dark right here, but it will dry lighter, just like the other green did. I think it looks super pretty. And that final color I'm using is called Aviary, and this is also by DIY Paint. Now all of these colors combined, I thought, made such a nice combination. I am partial to green. I love greens, and so I thought this would be perfect just to keep around. Like I said, you can keep this throughout the year, and I made this as neutral as possible. I did paint those inner wood pieces right there using this very neutral sort of beigey taupe color. It's called Sandstone by Waverly. And just taking a very small artist's brush, I just went ahead and dabbed some paint on those areas. Next, I took this laser wood cutout that came from Dollar Tree. This was from last year's Valentine's. And I decided, like I said, I was going to go ahead and choose some neutral tones just so that I'm able to keep this decor piece up all year round and incorporate it into my everyday decor. So I wanted to give this a two-tone look, so I went with Mineral Chalk Paint by Waverly. This is the first color right here. It's a very light color, very neutral, sort of like a grayish, or like has like a beige and gray tone to it. Perfect for, you know, that neutral color. And then the alternating color that I chose is Mushroom by Hello Hobby. And I thought that this is a nice brownish color as well. Now here, as you can see, it is more like of a lighter brown. It does dry a little bit lighter than this, as you can see. But later on, I will do something to it that will darken up that brown. Now in hindsight, I do prefer this lighter tone, looking at it from a distance and after having completed this project. But it's okay. In the end, it all works out just fine. It comes out looking beautiful regardless. So then I decided I'm going to go ahead and use the sandstone paint and just paint the word love right in the center. Now I thought about doing the flocking, which is what I'm going to be doing to those brown roses, to the love word, but instead I decided I'm going to just do it to the roses. So this is flocking powder, and you can get this at any craft store, but I had mine for quite some time. It's the Martha Stewart brand, and it's the brown color, as you can see. So all I did was took some of the DIY Big Top. Oh my goodness, I couldn't think of the word. DIY Big Top. It's like a top coat, and you can use any type of adhesive that you have on hand. I just went ahead and used the Big Top. and used a brush to spread the top coat over those areas that I wanted to flock. And then I simply poured the flocking powder over the big top and then used my hand just to pat it in to the wet, to the wet like adhesive. And I just kept adding to it. You want to you want to tap off the excess, anything that didn't stick on. It will fall right off. So then just keep adding the adhesive of your choice, and then keep adding the flocking powder just to make sure that you have coverage wherever you want the flocking powder to go. So this is where what I was talking about when I said that I had done something to the brown roses. I added flocking powder, as you can see, and then this darkened up those areas, which again, I had preferred the lighter brown, but it's okay. This is actually nice as well, and you will see the end result, that it does come out looking really pretty, and against all the greens that I use for the heart. So next I use this ink pad. It's fern green, I believe, and I use a sponge dauber, and I just wanted to uh, put some accent color into this piece just by sponging on some of that green color in different areas. And then I took my ink pad. This is Distress ink. This is I can't think of the word right now, but the the name is like, oh, I know, it's Vintage Photo. So this Vintage Photo color is what I use to distress the corner, sort of give it a rustic look, darken it up in the edges, just to sort of make those roses highlighted and pop just a bit. So as you can see here, this is what I'm going to be doing, is gluing that centerpiece over the top of this heart, this palette heart. So before doing that, I went ahead and gave this piece a good top coat, gave it a good couple coats of this big top. And again, this is just to protect the finish and to prevent the paint from reactivating, because it is clay based. So if you don't seal it, what's going to happen is that it can be reactivated if it gets wet. So this is an important step if you want to protect your project. And then after giving it a good couple coats, I went ahead and just sped up the drying process using a heat tool. And then I did the same with my laser cut piece, just making sure to avoid the flocked areas. Otherwise, it might just rub those areas off. So as you can see here, I'm just sort of positioning the laser cut heart right in the center, making sure that everything is even. And I did use a combination of both wood glue. This is wood glue from the Dollar Tree. You can also use tacky glue or Gorilla Glue, you know, what is it, the Quick and Thick glue by Type Bond. Any type of adhesive that's permanent would work. I wouldn't recommend just using hot glue on its own because, as you know, or maybe you don't, using hot glue alone can be a little risky because over time it can become loose and unravel or detach from your project, especially if you have extreme like weather conditions where you're storing your DIYs. But in my opinion, it's best if you just use a combination of both permanent adhesive as well as a hot glue. And then that's exactly what I did here. And then just putting some pressure over the top of this laser cut piece, making sure that I have good adhesion. Now, when you do add your wood glue or even hot glue, you have to be a little bit careful, because if you add too much, and as you can see, there's a lot of spaces in this laser cut wood, so a lot of holes and things like that where the glue can seep. And if you add a little too much, that's exactly what's going to happen. So all I did was took a Q-tip and just cleaned off those areas where the hot glue seeped out. Easy peasy. Now the last and final step was to add a cute ribbon. I used some of this lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree and just made a simple bow and then hot glued that to the top left corner. I went back and forth deciding, did I want to hot glue this to the center top of my heart, but it didn't look right to me, especially since there really wasn't a lot of like space up top. And then I just sort of like fiddled around with different ideas of placement. Um, Ultimately, I decided to go with this side look and just hot glued it to the upper left corner, just like so. And then I added a cute little touch by adding a not a ribbon, a button that came from this pack of buttons from the Dollar Tree. And that was pretty much it. This already came with a hanger on the back, a sawtooth hanger. This wood piece is very well made. It's from Hobby Lobby. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I love it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Moving right along, let's move on to the next DIY. This one is super easy, takes very little time to do. Anyone can do this in minutes. All I did was took one of those Dollar Tree signs that they usually carry, and these packs of Scrabble letter words both came from Target Dollar Spot, but full disclosure, I have had mine for many years. I can't even tell you when I bought those, but you can also purchase like Scrabble letters now. Sometimes you'll find them at Dollar Tree. Craft stores carry them, but this one, you know, they already formed a couple different words or sentences. So it was perfect just for making making this Valentine DIY. I went ahead and used that paper pack from Hobby Lobby and used one of the more simpler patterns, which is like this pink background paper with a very faint, I think it might be dots or something. But I didn't want anything to compete with the lettering that I was going to be adding to this sign. So it's best to just use like the most simplest backdrop, if you will. This paper pack has so many other cute designs, but again, you don't want the design of the paper to compete with the wording of the Scrabble letters that you're going to be adding, because it might be a little harder to read. So next thing I did was I just use a glue stick to stick my piece of scrapbook paper over that area. Oh, and I did forget to mention I had to remove the little sign that came in the middle. It was easy to do. And then just start off with the blank slate. Now, if you didn't want to use like scrapbook paper, you can also paint your background, but I didn't want to go through all that trouble. I already had this cute paper pack on hand. And then since I didn't measure correctly when it came to cutting out the paper, I went ahead and used some macrame cord, also from Dollar Tree. It's like in this creamy off-white color, and just outlined the inner corner parts of the picture frame just to cover up like the gap where you know, the scrapbook paper and the corner of the frame didn't exactly meet. So this is always a perfect solution or remedy if you ever come across like problems of, you know, cutting a little too small in your paper and it doesn't exactly fit into the space. You can always fix it with some trim or some ribbon or rope. So here I decided to go with this phrase or sentence or words. It just says you and me, and there was each pack comes with like two options for like words or phrases, but I needed to find one that would fit into this particular like shadow box. And I thought this was perfect, and I decided to add a little something to the top using some of this lace ribbon from Dollar Tree and just hot gluing that to the top. Like I said, this one came together in minutes, super easy, beginner friendly, but adorable. This would be perfect for a cute little vignette next to a picture of you and your loved one or your kiddos. I think it's super sweet. I hope you guys like this idea. If you're enjoying my video so far, please give me a thumbs up. And I would love to hear from you down in the comments, or just say hello. Let me know what you think of any of the DIYs from this video. And again, to all my subscribers out there, I appreciate you guys for coming back each and every time I upload a video. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you as part of my YouTube family. Let's move right on to the DIY number 3 of this video. This one's another one of those super easy DIYs. This is perfect for Valentine's, just for giving to like friends or loved ones or anybody really that you just want to sort of give something to without spending too much money, just to show them that you were thinking about them. All it took was using this pack of doilies from the Dollar Tree. Now they had white doilies as well. They had different sizes, but I decided to go with this pink one, and this is one of the bigger hearts. So since this is paper and it's rather thin, I decided to use 4 doilies in total, two for the top and two for the bottom. So I'm essentially creating like a little pouch, if you will, to hold some of these treats, some sweet treats. And like I said, this is one of those very simple DIYs, just perfect for giving to a friend or anyone that you just want to show them that you were thinking about them, but without breaking the bank. But this is also a cute DIY as well. So again, all you need are some candies that are small enough that's going to fit inside of these doilies. So you can also find like packs of like candies, truffles, things like that, even Hershey's Kisses like I'm using here. And you can just take out as many of the, amount that you want to use for this. So enough that will fit in that little area. So at first I was just going to stick them in there and then try to, glue the doilies together, but I decided, let's keep this contained and also give this some shape. So I decided to use some gift wrapping tissue and just throw all the candies into that tissue and sort of create like a ball shape, if you will, and then tape that together. That made it a lot easier as far as keeping all the contents together and then also creating a little shape and creating like a form to this heart. And then all you need to do is just hot glue all of your edges, and then, that's about it. This, like I said, couldn't get any easier. This would be super sweet if you made like multiples of these and just pass them around. And I think anyone receiving it would totally love this idea. Now, as an added bonus, I went ahead and used more of these heart scratcher stickers that I use in one of my shorts. If you haven't seen that, please go check out my YouTube shorts. I do have a lot of content on there as well. So this is really cute. It's a scratcher sticker. All you do is just write on the back of the sticker. It's on the paper part of it. And then you remove the sticker and then add it on top of the words or message that you wrote, and then just cut around it. And then whoever receives it can just scratch off the scratcher, and voila, they can read the message that you wrote. I thought this was super cute. Now, you don't have to add this if you don't have this. You can add stickers if you want, or just keep it plain. But since I already had this in my stash, I was like, let me just go ahead and make use of it. So I just added a couple of these and used some tape just to adhere it to the top of this doily heart. And again, I love this idea, super adorable. And you can also make like the heart, like the white heart version of this, because they do have the white hearts. And that arrow that I used right there is from Dollar Tree. I don't know if they have them this year, but I picked mine up last year. So I just stuck that through as well and just made sure to hot glue that area. And that was about it. Let's move right along to the final DIY of this video. Now for this DIY, this is going to be more of a transitional piece, or like a versatile piece. Although those are hearts, and they're like that sort of like, I don't know what material it is, like reed, or I don't know, some type of like a woven basket material. Now, if you were to use this on your own, you can definitely use it just as a scatter, or just to rest on a top of books or a table or something, and they can definitely work year round. Now, because these hearts aren't like your typical red, pink hearts, that you would normally decorate with for Valentine's, I decided, what, I'm gonna make like a spring type of decor using these hearts, and it can still lend to the Valentine's holiday or occasion because of the hearts, but at the same time, it's not specific to Valentine's. So this is perfect just to keep out, especially when spring rolls around, because the colors that I will be using is very spring appropriate. And also that ribbon that I'm using is from Joann's, super adorable with the birds. So all I did was just cut a strip of the ribbon to the size or the length that I wanted, and then just went ahead and cut multiples of those just so everything is even. So this is where I was sort of deciding how did I want this to hang. As you can see, I'm using one of those nautical ropes from Dollar Tree. And since it is thick, nautical rope is not necessarily good when it comes to like trying to tie, try to tie a knot with it when you're trying to make a garland, because it becomes too bulky. And then because it's super thick, the knotting part of it, it doesn't end up being tight enough. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but basically I decided, I'm just gonna stick the ribbon through and then do a knot at the top, and then that little loop that I left open is where I'll weave the rope into. So I thought that that was the best way to hang these without the hearts like flopping in every which direction, because I hate when like things hang off of like a rope or a string or something, and then they don't face the right direction. Do you guys ever have that problem? I just want like the design or the front part of something to actually be facing front. So sometimes when you're making garlands, especially with like those little Dollar Tree wood cutouts, it has a tendency for that to happen. I know it does for me. So, how you tie your strings and things like that, it does make a big difference in how your pieces lay and face. So anyways, once I was able to figure out how I wanted to hang these, like I said, I just strung the rope right through those holes, and they laid just the way I wanted them to. So next up, I am using this 2-pack of bandanas from Juncture. It's from Dollar Tree's brand. This is super pretty. Look how nice its colors are, very springish. When I saw this at Dollar Tree recently, I really liked the look of this pattern as well as the color combinations. Like I mentioned earlier, I love greens, and just all the tones in the bandana I think is really pretty. And again, it's very spring-like. And then it came with this coordinating bandana as well. This is just more of a bandana look. I just love how this green looks, and I just figured it would make a nice material to use for a garland. So I went ahead and cut strips off of each of those bandanas. All I did was cut a slit at the corner, and originally I was going to just cut all the way straight down, but I decided I'm going to try and tear the pieces. So what I did was cut a small slit and then tore the rest off. Now, although I like the look of like torn fabric, the only thing with the bandanas here is that they frayed like super badly. Once I tore them, all of the strings and everything started to get in the way. They were starting to come apart, just creating like a big like pile of thread mess. It was really annoying. So if you want to try to avoid having all of those frayed edges, you may want to try to stick with just cutting your pieces. Now, it's not foolproof. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get like fraying when you just cut them, but you'll definitely minimize the fraying just because you're not helping like the fray along, if that makes any sense. Because when you're cutting, you're just cutting until you actually start like messing with the fabric. But again, if you're not into like that messy frayed look, then keep with the cutting part. Don't tear it like I did. So anyways, after knotting each of the fabric strips that I cut, and I actually did use up all of the strips that I cut, and after everything was complete, I did take a look at it, and it was a little too much fabric, and it was starting to get in the way and cover up those hearts, and it looked a little too busy. So I did have to remove a good amount of the fabric pieces. I thought what looked visually appealing was just to keep it 2 strips of fabric in between each heart, and it's one of each of the designs, and I thought that had a much cleaner and better look. Here is the finished result of that garland. Here's the final look at all the DIYs of this video. I really enjoyed making these projects for this Valentine's, and I hope you guys enjoyed and got some inspiration. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Please give me a thumbs up and join me again for my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one.